Thank you for joining us today. On behalf of Spectrum Reach, we are thrilled that sports are back. Our theme for the restart of sports is We Fan Together. We watch together, play together, laugh together, we cry together, we cheer together. We fan together. My name is Michelle Qualls, and I'm the Ohio Sports Sales Manager for Spectrum Reach, and I'm coming to you live from Cleveland, Ohio. Our guest speakers today are Allie Clifton, Spectrum Sportsnet host for the Los Angeles Lakers. Allie, tell us where you're from and where you're living now.
Yeah, Michelle, not too far from you. I'm born and raised in Van Wert, Ohio, about 3 hours south of Cleveland, and I am now out here in California in what they call the South Bay.
So good to see you.
Well.
We also have Dan Schaefer, our Product Marketing Director of Sports, Entertainment, and News outside of LA in Redondo Beach. Dan, tell us what your favorite sports teams are.
Yeah, hey Michelle, good to be with you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm from Connecticut. Originally moved out to LA about 5 years ago. Not really far from Allie. Big Philadelphia Eagles fan, also the New York Yankees. I keep my East Coast roots at heart, but I do have love for my new Dodgers and Lakers and all LA teams as well. So great to be with you today.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. And we also have Brent Carter, our Senior Manager of Product Marketing of Sports and Spectrum News from St. Pete, Tampa area in Florida. So Brent, you've told me that your favorite teams are anything Dallas. So anything going on in Dallas besides Dak Prescott always being in the news?
Well, first of all, I want to say shout out to the South Bay as well. I lived there for a while, so from one West Coast to another right now. But yeah, everything Dallas right now is. My whole life I've been a huge fan of all the teams: Cowboys, Mavericks, Rangers, Stars. Doesn't matter.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys all for being here today. Our theme for the day is getting back in the game, and the top 4 things you need to know, which are sports are back, and we're going to talk to you about the league restarts. Most importantly, our fans, what's coming up, and opportunities for your business. So today we want to hear your questions and comments as well. So there's a little area there somewhere. So we want to hear them, okay? And we want to know if you're excited about the return of live sports. So push that celebrate reaction button and then let us know who your favorite team is, okay? So let's kick things off by talking about the shows that you guys fell in love with while sports were off the air. I'm going to start by saying that I loved reliving the Indians' 22 win streak from 2017. Allie, what about you?
I actually, hearing you say that now a couple times, I have to say and admit that there were several times that I did watch the Cavs championship run in 2016. Again, being from Ohio and Ohio native, I am a diehard anything Cleveland fan.
And did you still bawl? Because I did watch it as well, and I was bawling.
I don't know if I bawled, but I actually felt like I didn't know the outcome, and I was there live covering it. So it was so funny just to watch that all over again. But I think another thing that I really enjoyed so much, in large in part because I work alongside James Worthy now with the Lakers and his relationship to Michael Jordan. So The Last Dance, it was incredible to watch. It was one of those moments, those series that I actually put my phone down for 2 hours every Sunday and really just dove in, lived it all up. I was very young during that championship success for the Chicago Bulls. But I felt like I was living it all through as they aired it. So Dennis Rodman, he moved up in my books. I ordered a jersey, watching episode 3. It actually just came the other day. So I think that's one of the highlights during this pandemic, that I was able to really just sit down, relive that 2016 title run for the Cavs, but then also experience The Last Dance.
No, that's awesome. Dan, what about you?
Because of Dennis Rodman. He was the man. I was traipsing down memory lane too, but then, one night I was sitting there about 10 o'clock at night and West Coast time, and all of a sudden Korean baseball comes on ESPN, and I was psyched. We had some live sports, and I quickly became a Samsung Lions fan. So I was watching them. I was watching cornhole because they started up their tournaments with masks on, and then I was really trying to figure out what was happening in the LA area, and really got hooked into our Spectrum News channel because they cover our area like nobody else. So I was really watching a lot of our local news channel. So that's what I was up to.
Nice, nice. Okay, Brent, so we already know that you're a Dallas fan. So did you catch any replays of the Rangers World Series?
Yeah, actually, that's about 10 years ago, I think. They had back-to-back World Series appearances. My beloved Texas Rangers. I watched them on ESPN, and it's weird because, like, I think Allie was alluding to this earlier, that it's, weird looking back, and you didn't really kind of know the outcome. It was tough, and it kind of transported me back into time to watch it. There was kind of got caught up in the intensity and the nostalgia of it. I guess I'm just a glutton for punishment, but as many sports fans are. But sports will do that to you. It's the old roller coaster effect. But I also watched the NFL draft, which was huge. It's huge for me every year because it's like waking up and opening presents up. The anticipation is just totally off the charts. And this year's draft was obviously unique, being 100% virtual, but it came in a time when many of us were just starving for sports, any sports. So
absolutely,
those are the two for me. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, we're going to kick things off here with the top 4 things that you need to know. And our first one is about sports are back. So finally, they're back. And we all know how it fulfills an essential need of camaraderie and community. So golf has started up, NASCAR, MLS. This week we got baseball, and next week we got NBA and NHL. So Allie, the NBA suspended play in March. What programming was available on Spectrum Sportsnet LA during that time, and what new is coming up at the start of this season?
One thing's for sure, I hope those who are tuned in are really hitting that celebration button right now, because just hearing that live sports are back, and especially for me covering the NBA, the Lakers right now, that happens this week. I think we did such a good job at Spectrum during this time of navigating the new normal and trying to figure out a way to do our jobs and reach those at home who are craving for some of that new content. And so for a couple weeks, we had a couple shows a week where we touched in with players and coaches and just to see how and everything, see how and what was going on in their worlds. But now it's really ramping up because the NBA starts 3 scrimmages before that 8-game regular season begins on July 30th, and we're covering it all. So back in full swing as much as we can be inside the studio. We bring you all 3 scrimmages starting this Thursday live, as well as airing all 8 regular season games, if you will, before the playoffs begin on Spectrum Sportsnet. So I'm just excited. I'm thrilled to have all sports back, but especially the NBA, which begins this week.
Awesome. Okay, so Dan, MLS started with their big tournament on July 8th. What more can you tell us about that?
Yeah, this tournament is awesome. I mean, it's not getting talked about enough. They scrapped the rest of the regular season and decided to condense everything into a World Cup style tournament. So this month it's kicked off already, and it's some of the viewership stats are amazing. So Orlando City SC over Miami on July 10th averaged nearly 500,000 viewers across ESPN and ESPN Deportes. Just to put that in perspective, that is I think it's the second most viewed regular season telecast over the last 2 years and like 5th highest in the last 5 years. So those 2 teams, Miami especially being new, huge numbers. So you can really tell that the appetite is there for sports coming back.
Well, and what a great thing for that league to just be able to grow that fan base. That's awesome.
Yeah, and they're bunking up with the NBA players down in Orlando. Everybody's all together in one spot.
Absolutely. Okay, Brent, so fans and advertisers, we know, have been super thirsty for this return of sports. What can you tell us about their consumption and their upcoming advertising plans?
Yeah, I like to say they're chomping at the bit for the return of live sports. But according to an ESPN survey, 88% of avid sports fans plan to watch as much sports as possible when they return, and that's about to become a reality in the next few weeks. But I also found it interesting that just under 1/3 of businesses plan to unpause their advertising spend as live sports return, which to me makes a lot of sense, as for many brands, sports accounts for a healthy amount of their overall marketing mix.
Awesome. Well, before I jump into our next section, we have a question here. Actually, it's to you, Allie. What was your favorite Rodman moment or anything new that you learned about him while watching The Last Dance?
John, my friend, I tell this story all the time as my favorite moment, But I do kind of have two, because one is just one of those epic moments that we would never see nowadays. And it's when he left the arena sitting on his motorcycle, drinking a Miller Lite. Like, that does not happen nowadays. And it was so awesome, that footage to see. I think that's why we all sat down and enjoyed it so much. It was the footage that no one had seen before.
Right.
But as a hoop nerd that I like to call myself, when he was sitting there discussing the art of rebounding, it was incredible. I mean, those are the things that you would typically see or hear from the art of being a shooter, right? Because rebound is within, and it's such a skill, and it's such an art that so many people don't know. But I think Dennis took us inside the details, the intricacies of being so great at what his role was, and I was there for all of it. I loved it.
Such a great show. Oh my God. I talk. My next thing, goosebumps. I mean, that's, what this is all about. And so our next section is about that passionate fan. And I've always said that teams win and lose, and we're actually in the business of selling goosebumps when it comes from the fans. So, Allie, you have a huge fan base. What have you done to continue to engage your fans during this time?
Yeah, I think we've all been hit with a little bit of twist and turning and throughout this entire time of just how do we relate? How do we try to keep things as normal as possible? And one thing that has worked for me is something that actually started when I was with the Cavs in Cleveland. And I host a podcast, the Road Trippin' podcast, with a couple former NBA players, Richard Jefferson and Channing Frye. And we've tried to deliver and put out content as much as possible. It's been a weekly episode full of just, we've had Steve Kerr. We actually just recently had LeVar Ball. We had LeBron James right at the start of the pandemic. And it's just that humanizing, lighthearted, loose ability to continue to relate with fans and just bring sort of a chill aspect in such uncertain times. And so I think that has been the biggest benefit for me in terms of just relating with the fans when things aren't as normal as they seem to have been.
No, that's great. That's great. Dan, how are fans consuming sports in general?
Live, Michelle. Live. No, sports and news, really the only things that are still consumed live or same day. In fact, the stat that we love to tout is that 99% of sports are consumed live or same day. And really, 93% of fans prefer to watch at home. So sometimes you do need to watch at home, and I'll get to that a bit later, but live.
And Brent, what can you tell me about the passionate fan?
Yeah, I'd just like to add that fans tend to be very brand loyal and very passionate, just as passionate as Dennis Rodman is about rebounding, and exhibit strong purchasing power too. Data shows that they stick to the brands they like, and they take action from video ads on every screen.
Wonderful. All right, so now we are going to talk about what is coming up. So, Dan, what can you tell me about what we have on deck for fourth quarter?
Yeah, Q4. So NFL looks to be on schedule. There's procedures to ensure that the health and safety of the players and fans they're being discussed right now. Some information came out yesterday. Various stadiums and arenas are trying to figure out, what their situation will be. Reduced capacity, no fans at all. We'll see what happens, but looks to be on schedule. College football too also looks that it will happen as well. There's some discussion about playing conference-only schedules, so that will, mix the schedule up a little bit. But college football looks to be on target as well. And then, the real wait and see here is what's going to happen with NBA and NHL and college basketball. With NBA and NHL being disrupted the way they were and just finishing their seasons now,
right?
Several different scenarios could take place. They may cut the season short and start in, say, December, or maybe there's a more just pushed the season later and we have the finals, the Stanley Cup finals and the NBA finals, later on in July. So it's really a wait and see, but that's what's coming up for Q4.
Good stuff. So, Brent, we had a bunch of postponements this spring and into summer. So what is on deck for 2021?
Yeah, 2021 will be huge for sports, that canceled or postponed actually in 2020. And it'll be a big year for sports in general. As networks, leagues, teams, fans, and advertisers, all start to move forward. But there are several events we outright missed this year that will return next year. You have March Madness, the 2020 Olympics, which will be played in 2021, and there's other international events as well, such as across the pond you have the return of Wimbledon tennis, the Open, which some people call the British Open, and then sticking with golf, you have the Ryder Cup as well. That was just recently postponed to next year. And then lastly, there's the Euro Cup, which is a quadrennial soccer tournament, which is kind of similar to the World Cup.
Gotcha. Okay, we're on to number 4, guys, and this is the best opportunities for sports advertising. So at Spectrum Reach, we can connect fans beyond live sports. Your sports advertising campaign can be customizable and flexible based on the target audience you're looking to reach. So Dan, nothing goes better than our streaming products with sports. What can you tell me about them?
Yeah, I mean, streaming, live sports is nothing new. In fact, I have this little relic from 14 years ago, the ESPN phone.
Nice.
Which streamed, I believe, the first NBA game on this tiny little screen.
That's awesome.
So that was 14 years ago. But last year alone, we had a 14% growth in live sports viewing on digital platforms. So that's a huge growth. I mean, with iPhones and tablets and smart TVs and all sorts of devices. I mean, it's just a big, big boom in digital consumption. In fact, 25% of people watch outside of the home or on the go. So while I said before that 93% prefer to watch at home, sometimes you don't have any other options and you got to go outside the home. So 25% watch outside of the home or on the go.
Oh, good stuff. And nothing matches our streaming products. They are amazing and can match up with any campaign that we have on the linear side for sure. Brent, we also have some amazing news products. What can you talk to me about with our Spectrum News?
First of all, for fans, I believe that Spectrum News is a great opportunity that comes to mind. Spectrum News presents stories about the communities in which they serve. And I mean, fans are always interested in news about local athletes, teams, weather, traffic, and community events.
Absolutely. Dan, I'm going to send it back to you with another question. We have a lot of great stuff around our live games called shoulder programming. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so really interesting what's happening with all these sports coming back, because now in the months of August and September, you're going to have all the NBA and NHL shoulder programming. So the pre and post game shows that go around them. You've got specific networks like NFL Network and the ESPN they're just dedicated to a specific sport. So there's all of that's all happening at the same time. So lots of great opportunities to get in around all of the games that are going on.
No, absolutely. And, just to reiterate, we can just about customize something for anyone, no matter what your budget is, what your goals are. Lots of opportunities across all the networks that we represent. So Allie, I'm going to bring it back to you. I want to know what you are most looking forward to watching in these upcoming months.
To be honest, any sport, as we've kind of just talked about through this entire live stream, any live sport, just to see all these athletes who understand and realize how much they love their sport, how much we as fans love watching them play their sport. And again, I'm truly through and through such an NBA fan, and I'm excited to see that come to fruition. I feel like the league has put themselves in such a great position to hopefully be successful through the midst of everything we're experiencing. But to see the latest test results down there be such a success, and see the guys be in the bubble and what they're calling a AAU grown men campus, just to see all of that come to fruition. I can't wait. I truly am thrilled. When I say continue to hit that celebratory emoji button, it's what's screaming inside of me, just because we all realize that sports are coming back.
I know, it's so exciting. Mm-hmm. Dan and Brent, I'm going to kind of ad lib here for a minute because we got a couple more minutes. What about you guys? What are you, Dan, are you ready for those Yankees? And Brent, what about those Rangers?
Yeah, I'm really ready for baseball to get going. I've been a huge baseball fan ever since I was a kid, and to have them come back this week. I'm just looking forward to hopefully a Yankee Dodger World Series. That would be great.
3 of my 4 teams, or major sports teams, are all have a ring or trophy. My Texas Rangers do not. So I look forward to that. Plus, I like the idea of how these leagues and sports have adapted to our current situation, and I like how, for instance, the Rangers are in the American League West, and they will be playing only teams from the American League West, but they will also be playing their regional counterpart across in the other league, in the National League, for the National League West. So I'm looking forward to that kind of cross matches there. So.
No, that's awesome. And heck, I know it was only summer camp games, but I was excited to see the Indians and Pirates. I can't even tell you the last time those 2 teams ever played one another. But again, any parting thoughts, guys, before we wrap this up? Okay. Well,
I don't think so.
I can't thank you enough, Allie, Dan, and Brent, for all your insight today. And to you, the audience, thank you for joining us. The restart of live sports has begun, and let us all fan together.
Woo!
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.